We are counting down the top 10 childhood freedoms that could land someone in legal hot water today, from wild rides and unsupervised adventures to habits that once seemed harmless but triggered nationwide crackdowns. This ranking covers everything modern laws and safety fears have wiped out. Some entries are banned for good reason, others may surprise you. Which iconic risk tops the list, and which ones are just memories? Let's start with number 10. In the 10th place, nothing captured childhood freedom quite like riding in the bed of a pickup truck, wind whipping past, knees pressed against cool metal, the open sky above. This was the ultimate shortcut to adventure, especially in small towns and on country roads. For decades, families piled in after ball games or farm chores, never thinking twice about seatbelts or side rails. But beneath the nostalgia, the risks were real. Studies show that passengers in truck beds face a 3 to 5 times higher chance of being ejected in a crash compared to those inside the cab. Over 100 deaths each year were linked to this practice, according to NHTSA data from the late 1980s through the 2000s. Today, more than 20 states restrict or ban anyone under 18 from riding in a truck bed, with rules that shift dramatically from one state line to the next. What once felt like pure freedom now carries a hefty fine, or worse, if you try it in most places. Number 9. The smell of cigarette smoke once clung to every corner of childhood. Airplanes, diners, even doctors' waiting rooms were thick with haze. No one blinked when an ashtray landed on your tray table at 30,000 feet. Lighting up indoors was so normal that kids learned to read through a smoky blur, and family dinners came with a side of Marlboro. But the risks were hiding in plain sight. In 1986, the Surgeon General warned that secondhand smoke was a deadly threat, linking it to more than 40,000 deaths in the United States each year. By 1988, smoking vanished from all flights in the United States. Through the 1990s and the 2000s, state after state cleared the air, with 27 states now banning smoking in most indoor public spaces. What was once just background faded out. Today, sparking up in a restaurant or on a plane isn't just frowned on, it's against the law. 8th place. Nothing says old school parenting like the mom seatbelt. You are barreling down the road, no car seat in sight, and suddenly she slams on the brakes. Her right arm shoots out, pinning you to the vinyl bench as if it were made of steel. For decades, this was the only line of defense between a kid and the dashboard. In the 1970s, crash data began to tell a different story. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, unrestrained children were 5 times more likely to die in a crash. Tennessee led the way in 1978, becoming the first state to require child safety seats. By 1990, every state had followed suit, turning that iconic arm into a relic of the past. Today, letting a child ride unrestrained is not just frowned upon, it is illegal in all 50 states. Number 7. Helmets were for motocross pros and daredevil movie stars, never for kids pedaling rusted Schwinns down gravel hills. The neighborhood was a stage for wild stunts, bunny hops off curbs, no hands down the block, and the occasional crash that left knees bloodied and heads ringing. Nobody paused to strap on a helmet. The only rule was to get up and ride again. But as emergency rooms filled with concussions and fractured skulls, the science caught up. Studies showed helmets could reduce head injuries by as much as 88%. In 1990, Tacoma, Washington passed the first youth helmet law in the country. Today, 22 states require helmets for minors, and what once felt like harmless rebellion is now a ticketed offense in many neighborhoods. The thrill is still there, but the law expects every head to be covered. Number 6. Nothing quenched a summer thirst like drinking straight from the garden hose. The water ran warm at first, tasted a little like metal, but it was the flavor of pure freedom. No bottled water, no filters, just a quick gulp before running back to the game. For decades, nobody thought twice about it, but those carefree sips came with hidden risks. In the 2010s, consumer safety tests found lead in about 10% of sampled hoses, along with traces of BPA and other chemicals leaching into the water. EPA now advises against using garden hoses for drinking, and most hoses today carry a clear label that says, "Not for potable water." There is no federal law making hose drinking illegal, but what was once a rite of passage is now a health advisory, and parents think twice before letting kids relive that metallic taste of summer. Number 5. The world once stretched as far as your legs could carry you. No phones, no GPS, just a simple rule: be home when the streetlights flickered on. Kids wandered blocks or even miles, ducking through alleys and empty lots, inventing adventures far from adult eyes. That sense of freedom now bumps up against a different reality. In 2015, a Maryland family made national headlines when Child Protective Services investigated them for letting their 10-year-old and 6-year-old children walk home alone from a park. No charges were filed, but the case sparked a firestorm. Some states responded by passing free-range parenting laws to protect a parent's right to let kids roam. Today, what once felt like normal childhood can trigger a legal investigation, and the debate over how much freedom kids should have is far from settled. Number 4. The backyard was a battleground for toys that would send today's safety inspectors into a panic. Lawn darts, heavy steel-tipped missiles, were a staple of summer picnics, flying just feet from bare ankles and unguarded heads. Chemistry sets came with real acids and glass beakers, letting kids whip up smoke bombs or stain the garage floor for life. Even the Easy Bake Oven could scorch little fingers with a 100-watt bulb. But the fun stopped cold in 1988, when the Consumer Product Safety Commission banned lawn darts, after more than 6,000 emergency room visits and 3 child deaths, including the tragic case of 7-year-old Michelle Albert. Parents testified before Congress, and the CPSC drew a hard line. Some toys just couldn't be made safe. What started as innocent fun ended with a federal ban, proof that not every childhood thrill survives the test of time. Number 3. Playgrounds once felt like obstacle courses designed by the sun itself. Rusty metal slides scorched bare legs, and the only padding beneath was concrete or packed dirt. On a blazing summer day, those slides could hit 220 degrees, enough to leave a blister that lasted longer than your popsicle. In 1991, a 3-year-old girl in Chicago suffered burns over nearly a fifth of her body after a holiday trip to the park. Her family's lawsuit settled for nearly $3 million, forcing the city to rip out hundreds of metal slides. That case set off a nationwide shift. By the mid-1990s, the ASTM F1487 standard and the Consumer Product Safety Commission's new rules demanded soft surfacing and safer equipment. Cities swapped out asphalt for wood chips and plastic, and by 1998, playground injuries had dropped by about 31%. The era of the blistered slide faded, replaced by a new standard of safety that changed every neighborhood park. Number 2. Leaving the house unlocked was once a quiet badge of trust. In small towns, doors stayed open from dawn to dusk. Neighbors drifted in and out, and the idea of hiding a spare key felt almost paranoid. Kids dashed home for lunch, parents ran errands, and the front door was just another welcome sign. That sense of safety held strong for generations. But as crime rates shifted in the 1980s and urban burglary exposure climbed nearly 20%, habits began to change. Insurance companies started offering discounts for deadbolts and alarm systems, nudging families to lock up. Today, smart locks and doorbell cameras are everywhere. And in many cities, leaving your door open is not just risky, it can void your insurance coverage. Rural elders might still cling to the old ways, but most of us have traded that easy trust for keypad codes and push notifications. The world feels bigger, and the locks have followed. And finally, in first place, walking everywhere alone marked the last great frontier of childhood independence. 7-year-olds with backpacks, sneakers scuffed from shortcuts, set out for school or the corner store without a second thought, and without a single adult in sight. The world felt big, but not out of reach. Most parents did not worry about GPS trackers or check-ins. The only rule was to be home when the streetlights blinked on. Over the decades, that freedom faded. By the early 1980s, surveys suggested nearly 8 out of 10 parents let their kids walk solo. Today, that number has dropped sharply, with fewer than half feeling comfortable letting children go it alone. School districts now set strict policies, some requiring an adult escort. Until middle school, the shift is not written into one law. It is a patchwork of changing attitudes, safety campaigns, and media-fueled fears. In 2015, a Maryland family made headlines after Child Protective Services launched an investigation for letting their 10-year-old and 6-year-old walk home from a park. No charges stuck, but the message was clear. What once defined childhood autonomy is now a flashpoint for debate. Programs like walking buses, groups of kids chaperoned by adults, hint at a nostalgia for lost freedom. But the days of wandering alone belong to a different era. The biggest change is not just about rules, it is about trust and how much of it we are willing to give. Across all 10 entries, one pattern stands out. Childhood once meant trust and risk in equal measure. Today, the push for safety shapes every rule. Our memories show how quickly society redefines normal, reminding us that freedom and caution always in delicate balance. What do you think we have lost or gained